and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the city's master planning process and what's going on with Coliseum Central. I have two guests, one from the City Planning Department, Donald Whipple, welcome.
Thank you.
And from Coliseum Central, Raymond Tripp.
Good morning.
This is kind of an example of the city working with private owners of land and developers. Well, you're with an organization now, but still, it's that partnership that goes on in the master planning process.
Yeah, that's especially with Coliseum Central master plan. That's a big element. Is our main stakeholder that we work with, not only just with the master plan, but every day. And the project implementation process is working with the Business Improvement District of Coliseum Central. So they're a big customer, if you will, or client that we work closely with. In this case,
a lot of the land
master
isn't
plan.
owned by us. You know, it's not city land. We're not deciding what to do. We're partnering with business owners to give them ideas that kind of complement what our residents want to see.
Yep, that's correct. That's another big component of the master plan is trying to facilitate. Terry O'Neill uses the phrase economic flypaper, where we put the plan out there and it draws developers to help us implement the recommendations that are in it.
Now, when a lot of people in the public, now me before I started working for the city, you hear master plan process, and it takes forever, and nobody really understands what it is. It's a difficult concept, I think, because development does take forever. It's a really slow process. So let's talk about the previous Coliseum Central plan first, because I think we can look at it and see what it generated or what it helped generate, because obviously the plan didn't do it. It took a lot of people and a lot of money.
Right. Probably the biggest project that came out of the 2004 plan was the redevelopment of the Coliseum Mall into the Peninsula Town Center, which we know of it today. And that was a direct implementation. The developers or the project owners got with developers. They saw the interest there and the possibilities and the potential of what the plan was doing, and actually took it and ran with it and made it actually much better than what the plan recommendation was for that. Another big project that we saw happen since 2004 was the Boo Williams Sportsplex. That was another big project that came about since the master plan.
Now, I think, taxpayers see that, particularly we'll be in the capital planning process by the time this airs, and people see money, tax money, going to Coliseum Central for some of these projects. And they don't understand necessarily that these are investments of one-time money designed to produce ongoing taxes. If you look at what sales tax Hampton was getting before Coliseum Mall was renovated into Peninsula Town Center and what we're getting now, it's, I calculated this recently, it's like 10 cents, on the tax. We would be paying 10 cents more on our tax rate if we didn't have that reinvestment. I mean, it adds up really quickly.
Right. It is. Coliseum Central is the city's economic, engine. It is our central business district.
Retail engine.
Yes, it is our central business district.
We've got a few other engines, but yes.
Yeah, but it is the central business district.
We estimated it at least 80% of the city's retail business in Coliseum Central.
And
that's a lot of ongoing tax revenue every year.
And then Raymond, why don't you speak to the actual business improvement district? There's a special tax assessment that creates the district.
Well, actually, the property owners that we're referring to, the stakeholders, as Donald's referred to, realized long ago that we needed to work together to enhance our district. Coliseum Central area was formed in 1996, the bid was, by 4 major property owners that came together and talked about how we could work together to make the area more consistent and also to deal with the competition that was starting to grow west up the peninsula. And the bid has, in that respect, created different organizations, or different committees rather, to work in specific areas. One is security, one is marketing, and one's fiscal improvement. And the Fiscal Improvement Committee, it works very closely with Donald and his team in this master plan. And we feel that it's important, as we start to look at the future for Coliseum Central, is how do we redevelop it? And there needs to be a roadmap, because most of what we have is already developed. So we will be talking about redevelopment, not new out of the ground type construction. And with that, it causes the city to run into issues as far as approving certain types of constructions, and determining what can go where. And that's where the bid really got in focused with the city, is to help them determine what we'd like to see it look like in the future. And then giving basically teeth, so if you want to call it, to the city's ability to help control the new redevelopment of the market. So it's been very important, and all our stakeholders and our businesses in our district are very impressed with what we've been able to generate, not only from the previous plan, but also in the new one as well. It incorporates some of the changes that Donald will probably refer to in the retail area. In the last 10 years, retail's changed dramatically. 2008 changed the entire way we do retail now. There are no longer these large, huge, massive retail stores looking for a lot of square footage anymore. And so you've got to adjust to that as well. And that's what this plan really incorporates.
That sounds like fun. So we're going to see, one of the things that I noticed in the plan was talking again about residential development. And we had H2O before, but Peninsula Town Center is looking at increasing some of their residential. And as this has built up as an area that has shopping and restaurants, and there's office workers now. You've got Faneuil and some ever large clients up on that second floor. You're looking at the complete package then of live, work, play all in the same place. So there's some residential plan. What else was in the plan or is in the works for redevelopment?
Well, I think one of the biggest shifts that we've seen has been with we have 6 initiative areas, and you mentioned, you talked about Peninsula Town Center, and then also Riverdale, and most of the kind of the centralized shopping. There's some Coliseum Marketplace, Coliseum Crossing, that all is considered Coliseum North. Coliseum South is the south portion of Mercury Boulevard, where most of our hotels are. And this time we really paid close attention to our hotel initiative. We're just really zoning in now that we have Boo Williams online and bringing so many visitors to the city through the amateur sports tournaments. And then also we have the convention center came online about the time that we had just adopted the first master plan. And so we have a greater look now at what our deficiencies are with respect to our quality hotel room inventory. So we're really focusing in on, we have several underperforming properties, and so there's just really, there is a need. We have that need for those hotel rooms, and so we're focusing in this plan on identifying multiple sites where some of those convention quality hotels could locate.
Well, I think that's the thing a lot of the public doesn't understand. And we put tax money into buying the Motel 6, which we're going to be tearing down just as fast as we possibly can. Yeah. Why is that important to the taxpayer? Raymond, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, there's a good reasoning behind it. It is, for the city to grow, we've got to have, and especially for we're referring to the convention center and the Coliseum itself. They have been looking to book concerts, also other types of convention. And they have lost a lot of opportunity because we don't have the number of rooms in one geographical area to book that business.
That are of a certain standard that convention bookers expect.
And each one of those conventioneers, when they come into town, they're not just going to that convention. They're staying in one of our hotels, or eating at our restaurants, they're shopping in our retail stores. And I think 90% of conventioneers say the one thing they enjoy doing outside the convention itself is shopping and eating. Mm-hmm. So this is a good revenue generator, but unfortunately the years have not been kind to us in the hotels.
We're an aging city, and
are.
a lot of those hotels came in right after the Coliseum
80s.
came in, which was great. And the Coliseum was booming, and the hotels were booming. And some of them have reinvested in their properties, and they're still in wonderful shape. And others were pretty dated and not what convention people want to stay in when they're vacationing. Like, you know, people traveling on the interstate might pull over, stay at a budget motel for a night, and that's a certain market, but it's not going to serve our convention goers. And we have tax money invested in that convention center, and we're not maximizing it because of our hotels.
That's right.
And our plans in the future too will be looking at sports entertainment as a venue that we really think we have the opportunity over anybody else. We're very fortunate to have an individual like Boo Williams who's connected with the AAU program, which that is an area we can grow tremendously.
And even his own studies show that a big percentage of his
Hotel
kids
rooms going
are staying in other localities because there's not what they're looking for in Newport News. And they're not looking for top of the line.
No, they're looking for middle service. But, you know, and Convention and Visitors Bureau has a whole team that's designed and created just for the sports entertainment side of the house.
Oh gosh, they've got cheerleading. They occasionally have volleyball. They helped host when Boo didn't have enough courts. They were able to put some of the girls' events in the convention center. It's a very adaptable building.
And Hampton's been blessed with a lot of talent, young talent that has gone professional over the years. And so this is an area I think that the city is kind of focused on as far as Convention and Visitors Bureau. But what we're hearing from individuals like Mr. Williams, he's telling me, hey, you know, I can bring in more people, but it's not going to bring more revenue to Hampton. It's going to share it with the Newport News, Williamsburg, and Virginia Beach, unless you get me some better rooms.
And that doesn't help our school system. That doesn't help our police department. That
All
doesn't
that
help
goes
us
back to
pay
the general
salaries.
fund,
Right. I don't think people understand that.
Yeah.
So when they look at, you spent this much to buy a motel and tear it down when you could have done something for the citizens, what they don't understand is 10 years down the road, and it's hard to look that far, that property will be generating more taxes. It will have paid for that, and it will be generating, and it will be a plus on an annual basis that goes to pay for those teacher and police and firefighter salaries, that goes to pave your roads and do all the regular city services. That would reduce the demand on your senior citizens and your homeowners.
Absolutely. And the point that people need to understand, these are not what ifs. These are real numbers. These are people that are coming. For instance, Boo Williams Sportsplex brings in 400,000 people in a 4 or 5 month period. And half of those individuals are staying in other cities.
And they want to stay here.
They want to be here. The teams will tell you, I want to be close to the facility. I want to be walking distance to the restaurants. So that's a key that we've been focused on, is try to work with that. Now, we sat down, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as the bid. We actually have a hotel task force that we've sat down with those owners of some of the ones that we've indicated is underperforming, and tried to work with them on a business perspective and shared with them the opportunities that will be coming up in the future through the master plan that Donald and his team have been working on. And we want them encouraged to try to upgrade to meet that demand. It's a win for them.
And we have seen some nice motel reinvestment, and the Holiday Inn Express
won an award for that.
Yeah, national award for its work. So I think
that's one of the areas we're really excited about. We're still going to push, and Donald's working with the master plan. That's some of the comments that he received from us stakeholders.
And there is some public areas still in Coliseum Central that we're figuring out what to do with, and a second youth sports tourism venue is one of the things on that list.
Yeah.
I think what they've found is it's a little more recession-proof than some of the other tourism dollars, because people will spend money on their kids.
They do, even
and,
when times
it can be an investment. If you've got a kid who's a star athlete and gets a scholarship, boy, your money has paid off. You have saved in the long run.
And a lot of them have that dream too, Robin. They really do.
And a lot of variety of sports too.
And to the point that you just made, a lot of these families do give up their vacations. This is their vacation, with their kids being in these programs. They put a lot of dollars in going to these tournaments, and they spend it when they're here as well.
So, okay, that's exciting. Now, what are we going to see? You've done the plan. I'm ready to see stuff. It's not going to happen that fast, is it?
Well, it depends. It's rarely stuff happens that fast in that boat. Like we mentioned, we do we have moved forward with, the Motel 6 property, and hopefully, we'll have some new hotels that are coming soon.
So,
We've
okay, let me just ask you this one. Why wouldn't, we've had the best site on the market for a while. We know that we need another hotel. Why didn't somebody just come in and build a hotel?
Well, part of it is a good chunk of that time has been, we've been in a recession. And I think, and also Boo Williams was new during that time, but I think now after 10 years, well, not quite 10 years, but between 5 and 10 years of operation, we can now, with these updated market studies, I think we can build a case. We can go out and be more aggressive with hotel developers and point and say, this is what we're losing to other localities.
Yeah, and our stats weren't good. That's one of the things when you looked at it and you saw the average daily rate was very, very low, and there was a lot of vacancy. So a developer looks at that and they're like, why would I build there? They can't fill what they've got. I'm not going to make money. So taking a few of those lower ones out is going to raise all of our statistics and make us look much more attractive.
Yeah, there's two things that they look at there, and they're not necessarily paying attention to the quality or the condition of the hotel. They're looking at what is your average daily rate.
Look. They're just looking at the numbers.
Yeah,
They're
what's your
numbers
average daily
guys.
rate and how many total hotel rooms do you already have in your market? They don't
what's the
take into
vacancies?
account
Yeah.
how bad those total rooms may be, and that is bringing down the average daily rate. And so if we're able to, for instance,
Reverse, yeah.
the Motel 6, we take not only the numbers of those hotel rooms offline, we're also taking that low average daily rate offline.
It'll
so
help
go
the
up.
stats
And so we need to
overall.
continue to do that with whether it's us or other, encouraging those current property owners to reinvest, and then that can result in a higher average daily rate. That coupled with the potential that we have with our convention center, the potential that we have with Boo Williams,
Right.
the market's there. We just need to do a better job convincing, which I think we can now with the updated numbers that we have.
Well, also in terms of our stats, I get a lot of requests from residents about why don't you have such and such a chain here? Why can't we get, X or Y restaurant chain? And what I try to say is, we don't have enough people. We don't have a high enough average income, but if you get more tourists and visitors, those help to support some of the higher end restaurants,
retail
some
will
of the
follow.
chains, that we already have, and hopefully the ones we'll be able to attract in the future.
And that's a good point, because what retailers look at when they're looking at a market, they want to know what's the average household income, what's the population, what are the local schools that are nearby, and what kind of conventions and activities you have. And if we can enhance what we have already, then it gives us the opportunity to talk to these nationals a little more.
And bring in a few more.
Absolutely.
And it's good. It's a healthy mix of national chains, regional chains, independent restaurateurs. I think Hampton has a good mix. But if we can boost that area, bring in more tourists, more regional folks, we can get more of some of the entertainment and restaurants that folks want to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sports is being used all across the country. Atlanta, there was an area, a developer bought a property and ended up putting a tennis court in it, and they had national tournaments there. And it was one that was failing prior to that. So they used sports as a way to get people to cross over that major interstate, and residential was there. All the national tenants started showing up. So that is an opportunity that our city's focused on, and our public needs to understand we have that already. We just need to maximize it.
We absolutely do. And when you have that, when you have a Boo Williams caliber facility, not only is it good for tourists, it helps our residents. We've got a number of our own kids that get elevated in that national platform because they're right here and they work with Boo, or they, it's a good, when you can do those kind of developments that help bring in people, generate taxes, but also serve your citizens, you've hit three of the goals.
Absolutely.
with one set of tax dollars.
Yeah. I was going to mention earlier, you mentioned the potential of having another amateur sports facility. The potential is also there for that to be a community facility in addition to hosting
Right.
tournaments.
Right.
And
If it's an
so
aquatics facility or if it's something else.
it's a quality of life thing for our citizens.
It is. You get the quality of life, you get the regional benefits, you get some tax dollars, and you get more than you would if you were just going to build a 25-meter pool that high school kids can practice in.
Right.
And you got to take in consideration too, if you look at the inventory of some of our facilities in our city, they're aging as well. So there's got to be major investments or reinvestments in them to keep them to a standard that the public would want to use. So if you're going to have to do that, then you might want to look at maybe investing in something of that area as well. So.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to see some announcements coming up here in the next few months, aren't we?
Yeah, there's some, from the development side, the private side of the house, there are several opportunities that will hopefully be exposed in the next month. So we're excited. There's some movement. There are some new developments. There's some properties that are under contract now. And hopefully we'll be able to release some of those names in the next 30 days, which you'll be the first one we call.
Thank you, thank you. I know I bug you all the time to find out what's going on. All right, is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap
Just
up?
on the public side, we're continuing, in coming out of 2004, we came out of the gate and did quite a bit of extensive streetscaping projects, totally transformed the Coliseum Drive, for instance, leading into the Coliseum, totally transformed that. We have some additional projects that are coming out of the ground soon where we're going to be adding sidewalks to Mercury Boulevard in places where they aren't, adding lighting and just doing some sprucing up of that as well. And then also we're moving forward. I know I've been on here before talking about Central Park, the linear creek along New Market Creek, and we're continuing to make improvements there. We should in the coming year we should see that actual project coming out of the ground in certain phases.
And again, that's a three-way benefit because you've got an amenity for residents, you've got flooding control, and the land on either side of that creek that can expand, can hold water, and then you've got economic benefits as well.
That'll tie back into getting people that will want to live in the district, and it also ties into our visitors that are coming into Coliseum Convention Center. They want those types of amenities while they're here in our hotel rooms.
It is beautiful to kayak on. Like if you have never been down on that creek, it's just stunning. You don't see that, if you're at the Home Depot.
Yeah, the millennials that we're looking to bring in our district, as Donald said, that's what they look for. They look for environment and quality of life.
Place to exercise,
and they love
jog.
exercise. Outdoor activities are one of them. The only thing I would mention is that I would like to remind the public that everything that Donald and his team has been done in open forums. And if anybody has concerns or wants to avoid, Donald has these open meetings for all the public. And I mean, he does it with the businesses, as I know he does it with also the citizens. So, and they take this information and they regurgitate it back out, and that's what this plan is.
Oh my gosh, we post it all online. We've had online forums. I think it didn't generate this time a lot of interest because there wasn't a flashpoint kind of thing. Yeah. But I do think people need to know about it, need to see what's going on. The other thing I do want to mention just real quickly is trying to make, the next step. We've got the master plan areas, but making those connections between Coliseum and downtown, between Coliseum up to Armistead Point and up into the Office Park District, and extending Coliseum Drive and really tying that all together so your business district can get down here for lunch quickly or can shop on their way home, or that live, work all in that same area, and really making our city better connected, all those regions.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you both.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming. And thank you for watching. I know master plan topics can sound boring, but I hope we've made it interesting for you.